Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Super excited to talk about the Game Awards, my reactions, the highlights, a little bit of the controversies. Let's dive right in. I thought this year was fantastic. Typically, I go in a little apprehensive to the Game Awards because it's really the trailer awards, and you get to see what's coming, the new big announcements, and it always feels to me like the awards are kind of secondary, like they speed run through it. And this year kind of felt the same, but I'm very happy we have a Jeff Keighley in the space. I'm happy we have the Game Awards, and they're always very open to constructive criticism, and I thought this year's show was pretty fun. Plus, the Muppets were there, and the Muppets did such a cool job criticizing Jeff and the Game Awards through this nice medium of Waldorf, and I don't remember the other guy's name, like the two heckling Muppets, and they basically were all word for word things from the internet about it being the trailer show with awards attached to it. The announcements, though, were massive. I have seen some reactions online of people saying, how lame, nothing good, I can't believe it, gaming's over. If you're on that side, I don't know how you can get that from this year's announcements. Maybe AAA is not the way, we had a new Okami sequel announced, an Onimusha game, a new Ninja Gaiden, the first Virtua Fighter in like 15 years. The Shadow of Colossus team is working on a new game. Maybe you didn't grow up in the PS2 era, but you have seen Okami, you have seen gameplay of Shadow of the Colossus. These are games that pushed the artistic medium forward so far and always left a huge impact, even like decades on now. The Witcher 4 first trailer. Naughty Dog's new game. The new Elden Ring game. Let's start there, okay? There is so much cool coming. Now, the Elden Ring title looked awesome. I was very hyped. This is a standalone co-op game coming next year. Had no idea this was going to be revealed. But it is a little different than what I initially thought. This is a roguelite survival game with 30-minute sessions. You have to try and survive a 3-night cycle, basically, and you fight randomized bosses, and the map changes. There's a grapple hook. You fly around on a bird. There might be some Battle Royale-esque elements. It seems like this is FromSoft taking definitely a leap in a new direction. It sounds like you need to scramble to get your gear before the sun goes down, and then one of the game bosses appears to block your progress. Well, this is an interesting one. I worry about a lot of the buzzwords here. Roguelite, survival, BR elements. But From hasn't missed so far, and I'm hoping they don't yet. I'm excited. If you are as well, or if you have some apprehensions or know more, let me know in the comments down below. We had a brand new full Virtua Fighter game announced, and then the huge surprise, a new Okami game. An Okami sequel with the original game's director, Hideki Kamiya, at the helm of this project. Like, so hype. Oh, Borderlands 4 as well. I thought the Borderlands 4 announcement looked pretty cool. And then Outer Worlds 2. I enjoyed the original Outer Worlds. It's a pretty fun RPG. If you haven't played any of the Hazelight co-op games, they're really fun. They just announced Split Fiction, which looks super cool. It Takes Two won a bunch of awards last year. Very fun co-op game. So looking forward to Split. Was it last year or a couple of years ago? Whatever. Looking forward to that quite a bit. And then you had on top of that the Onimusha announcement, the really cool new Ninja Gaiden. This was a hype Game Awards. And, I mean, obviously, if you're this deep in the video, spoilers probably don't matter, but the Game of the Year went to Astro Bot, which I was super excited about. I'm only now seeing there's quite a bit of contention. There's a lot of people who think Black Myth Wukong should have won. I can't weigh in on that because I didn't play Black Myth Wukong. I did play and beat Astro Bot. It is such a fun game. It totally resonates with me. I think it is a fantastic title. I don't typically give the award side of the Game Awards that much stock because even though people do vote in it, the judges are a hefty portion of the weighting of those votes And speculatively, I don't know, is that a word? From a speculative perspective, I don't know if many of the judges played or beat Black Myth Wukong, where many probably did play and beat Astro Bot. The Player's Voice Award, which is the one that's purely voted on by the players, Black Myth Wukong, did win. But I loved Astro Bot, and those are the kind of games that I super enjoy. It celebrated like the legacy of all these PlayStation franchises and icons. The gameplay is phenomenal. It's ultra replayable. The music, the visuals. I really am excited that a like non-photorealistic game got so many awards because I am tired of everything looking like a UE5 engine demo where everything needs to be photorealistic and it just looks so samey. When you've got a great art direction and you've got crazy hardware, you can do amazing things. And I just finished Astro Bot not that long ago, planning on talking about it in an entire video coming up, but the game is so joyful. And I've kind of missed, if you've been watching the channel, you know, like Epos and I have talked about this, we miss the old days of really video games. And Astro Bot, to me, reminds me much more of that than a giant over-the-shoulder cinematic story, like movie-style game, which seemed to kind of take over the last generation for most of the big Sony titles. The most standout moment for me was the last speech right before Game of the Year was given out. Larian's Sven Vank gave the most concise, coherent, exceptional statement about the corporate interest in the gaming industry. I'm going to make an entire video talking about it, but he mentions next year's Game of the Year winner and the year after and the year after that. He can predict who it's going to be because the studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. He goes on to say, they didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve the brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't hit those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players like users to exploit. Like I said, I'm going to talk about that entire speech in another video or on the next episode of the Dualcomm podcast. But I was so happy to hear that. It's not just the players who are feeling tired and fed up with where AAA has gone, how they've sacrificed everything about the player experience in pursuit of monetization. And not only that, studios just getting wiped out, people losing jobs over all of this arbitrary junk, purely chasing the money rather than pushing the medium forward. It is, in like 2 paragraphs, he said so well what Epos and I have been trying to say over and over and over again. I thought this year's show was just awesome and fantastic, and at least just wanted to share my hype. It was really nice going into the void, not looking at Twitter, not looking at reactions, just sort of watching, seeing, and making up my own mind about things. I could be totally out in left field. I could be wrong. If so, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a very good start to your week. New episode of the Dualcomm podcast came out this last Saturday. Check it out. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you again on Wednesday.